roll, please. The Righteous Kitchen.
My mom has requested I make her clam chowder, and I use bacon in my recipe. I use the grease to make a roux, and then I add a few strips of bacon for flavoring. So I don't need a full pound of bacon fried up, but since I'm frying bacon, I'm going to take advantage of this and make breakfast. I'll have some extra left over after breakfast and this chowder that I'll use as a topping for my layered salad. So I'm going to fry this up and I'll come back when I'm ready to resume making the chowder. I am back from breakfast. I fried up the bacon and I reclaimed the grease from the bacon to use as a roux. So I'm going to set that over to the side. I'm going to dice the potatoes. I'm going to put these in a pan of cold water and rinse them a few times. I'm going to put a little salt in the water and get these on the stove. I'll boil them just till they're fork tender. We don't want them really mushy. We don't want them just done. So I'm going to go ahead and get these going. Okay, I'll go ahead and cut this celery. I don't want the leafy pieces of celery. I want a nice dice on this as well. So I like to cut them in half lengthwise. And then I position the knife, sink it in there, and slide it back. And I could come in here and give it a fine dice. I am going to use a garnish of curly parsley. Just gonna give that a chop. I won't be using the stems. You could also use the celery leaves. You could chop those up. I think I'll just add those to this. Okay, I'm gonna check on the potatoes real quick. They'll probably be done about the time I get these shallots minced up. Okay, the potatoes are done, so I'm going to get those off the stove and strain them. So here are the potatoes. They're fork tender. So I'll just set these off to the side. Okay, I've got my bacon grease from earlier. I'm gonna use that much and just go ahead and cut this into pieces. Okay, so I've got my roux components ready. I got my vegetables. I've got a topping here. So let me set all that off to the side. I thought I would top this with sourdough croutons. So I'm just going to make my own. I want to cut these into cubes. All right, so here is the bread for the croutons. I've got everything in place now, so I'll go ahead and bring out the pot to get everything cooking. Okay, I am back and ready to make homemade croutons. I am gonna start with some cooking oil and butter. I don't want this pan to get too hot to where the butter will burn. Turn it down a little bit. And right away we can start putting the croutons in. And I'm going to make these in 2 batches. Now it's just a matter of browning them. Once they've browned, put them on a cooling rack. You really need a rack for this because you don't want them to get any moisture. You want them to dry out. Then I'm going to dust them with a little bit of righteous seasoning. And there they are. Homemade seasoned croutons. Those are good. Okay, everything is in place. And I'm going to take this bacon grease and saute the celery and the shallot. I don't want this to brown. I just want the vegetables to soften. I'm going to season with about a half a teaspoon of righteous seasoning. Keep tasting the celery as you go along. You really want the celery nice and soft because it won't get a chance to soften up when you add the liquids. Okay, that's good. They're nice and soft. I am going to add the butter. Okay, we're going to get the butter melted in there and stir in the flour. I'll go ahead and add the bacon. Let this all soften up. I'm just going to cook it for a minute or so. I don't want this to brown, but I do want to cook a little of that flour out of it. Okay, I'm going to slowly add the clams and the juice. I want to incorporate that juice. And I could start with the cream. All right, now I can put the clams in. All right, that's a nice thick clam chowder. I'm just letting all these flavors come together. I'm keeping it on low. Now, optional, you can add carrots to this. I had about a half of a carrot that I used to make chicken broth. So I'm gonna cut that up and put it in here. It's already nice and tender. Otherwise, you would saute a fresh carrot with your celery and onion. I'm gonna put this on very low, about 150, because it's already bubbling there. Let me give it a taste. That's delicious. I'm gonna add just a little more righteous seasoning, about 1/4 teaspoon. What I'm doing right now is giving the bacon a chance to soften up. Let me taste that. Okay, that's good. It's time to put in the potatoes. I'm going to put the heat about 250. So I want these potatoes to get warmed through. I don't want to mash them. Just kind of stir them in there. Okay, I have that carrot diced up. And that gives it a nice color. It doesn't take much. We're just heating this through. Now, if it's too thick, add milk to it. Now, you don't really want this to boil, so I'm gonna put this back down to 200. I don't want to take a chance of this cream breaking on me after I've spent all this time and money on ingredients. But look at that, that looks really good. I'm gonna taste it one last time for the seasoning component. Maybe just a little more righteous seasoning. We probably got a teaspoon of righteous seasoning total. And this is 1.5 recipes that I made today. I made extra in case my husband wanted some. Perfect. This chowder is restaurant quality. I have non-fat milk here. I probably put 2 or 3 tablespoons. I just want to loosen it a little bit, but I don't want it, you know, really thin down because clam chowder is supposed to be nice and thick. I think that's it. Let's get you a close-up. Nice and creamy, chunky, light on the potatoes. That little bit of orange makes it look like there's crab in there as well. You could taste the clams. Those clams are the star of the show. It's just terrific. All right, I'm gonna show you what this looks like plated up. Man, I really outdid myself. I'm going to put some croutons and some of that parsley and celery leaves, just a little bit for color. And there it is, New England style clam chowder. So good that my mom requested I make it for her. That is some great competition-worthy chowder. Mmm. Mmm. All right, this is all I'm eating. I'm on a diet.
Thanks for watching The Righteous Kitchen. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.